Hello, happy Friday. It is Friday. Um, wow. Wait, is it the last Friday of August? Oh my God, I think it's the last Friday of August. So today, in this week off, my husband's week off, he is now on the couch eating potato chips. And even though we just had lunch, he's just right there. Um, But oh, hello. Hi, Alice. Thanks for joining today too. I'm so excited for your streams to be back. I think next week. Not the following week, but like the next week, right? Which reminds me, I am so grateful that you are still tuning in to my streams, even though I know you're really busy on a project right now. And I'm super looking forward to when you finish that project and then you can show us all of it in like its entirety. Um, and Alice as well, Twitch is so interesting with its gamification. Um, I agree. Because I also noticed that I the number of I don't know if this is what you're talking about, Alice, but I noticed also that the number of emotes I can make, custom emotes I can make for my channel, depends on the number of people that subscribe to my channel, which I think is a very interesting um, choice on Twitch's part. It makes a lot of sense from a business perspective. So then I guess like I'm supposed to now be motivated to be like, hi, please subscribe. But that feels really weird. So, hey, Gilliam, thanks for joining again today. And Quiet Deviant, is that Quiet Deviant 4? I'm guessing says hello, hi, and Pranav, hello, hi Pranav. DT says more open source. Yes, we're gonna finish this up today. And ooh, hi Visnu. Thanks for joining in today too, Visnu. Carrots and Peace and Pizza says great to be back. Yesterday's observable meet was also so amazing. Oh my god, yes. So, if you missed it, or if you yeah, so there was a meetup yesterday. I wonder if I can still pull it up. So it was hosted by Observable, which by now you might be quite familiar with. It was hosted by both Observable and the D3 Bay Area user group, which is the meetup group in the Bay that is very near and dear to my heart. It is where I first kind of found a really nice community to like share like any D3 problems with, and that's where I learned about DataVis. That's where I met Visnu, and so yesterday the meetup and Observable hosted a really cool meetup. So let's see. And actually, this is actually probably a bad link. So this is, or not a bad link, but this is probably not the right one to show. So this is actually, yeah, so both Amelia and Mike gave really great talks. I hope you cannot hear the crinkling of the potato chip bag in the background. That was really bad. Anyways, Amelia and Mike gave really great talks. Amelia talked about her kind of creation process for data visualization projects. I really enjoyed that. I actually missed the link to her slides, which were made in Observable. So I don't know if she's like published it yet, but it was really great. Actually, maybe I can just find it if I go to her Observable. Yeah, so this is it. I really enjoyed this. Partially, I guess, from an egotistical perspective of it very much is similar to how I do things. So then I'm like, oh, yes, I'm doing things correctly. or at least there's other people that do it in this way too. So it was a really great, and also Amelia just has really great like examples. So highly recommend checking out Amelia's work. Mike also talked about like teaching like D3 and observable in education, and that was also really interesting. And then finally, Mike Bostock talked about D3 because version 6 just released or about to release, I think. And so about D3, the future of D3, how he broke his arm, etc. And then I think maybe the recording is so I think it will be on YouTube in a couple weeks, but then somewhere somebody gave so it seems like this is a recorded version or the temporary version maybe. Ooh, awesome. So and then there was also a really, really awesome active chat with like a lot of people from around the world. That was really awesome. So I'll drop it's crowdcast.io/e/allaboutd3 if you're interested, and then I'll also drop this in the chat. But yeah, that was indeed it was just such an awesome like virtual version of our D3 meetups, and it was also even cooler because like people around the world could join instead of just people in SF in the Bay. So there's a lot of people that joined the chat that were both like just really awesome like old school friends from like the meetup since 2013, and also like people that really contribute a lot to D3 from like just different parts of the world. It was really cool. Oops. Uh-oh. Oh no, I did a silly thing. So hold on. I just accidentally closed the chat tab. So I have now missed all of your chats, and I have not quite figured out how to let me go and figure out if I can get the chat back. Because once I've noticed that if I just hold on, how do I get my chat back? So I don't know if this is something that like I'm just like haven't figured out, or but once I close once I close the tab, I can't, it like doesn't have a it doesn't give me back like a chat history. So then so sad. So now I can't see my previous chat history. So everything that like you said, oh sorry, Michael says, okay, so now I've reopened it. So what I do is I have a separate tab open to read your chats, and then when I close out of it, so like it's a weird Twitch. So I open up like a separate Twitch tab to read your chats, and then if I accidentally close out of it, then like all of the chat history is lost. And so like if I go back to that Twitch tab with all of the chats, it just won't let me scroll back for history, which is I don't know why they do it that way, but now I can't see your chats, which makes me very sad. So I don't know if you want to re-say the things that you said. But yes, so that's what happened yesterday, which is really cool. A random kind of small everyday thing that I've been looking at today that I'm really excited about is my friend and I have been talking about planners. And so I never in my life used to use like schedulers or like not schedule like I never really used planners because I didn't like um, planning out my day or anything like down to the hour or something like that. But then maybe last year I was like, okay, there's like too many things going on in my head, and there's like too many to dos that I'm like keeping track of in my head. So I bought like myself a really small planner, and it's been kind of amazing to just like dump all of the things in my head onto paper. So which has made me kind of think like, how did I even keep all of my to-dos in my head before? Anyways, that was like a small rant about so then I've been looking at 2021 planners. And I just wanted to say that I'm really excited. This is like a small trivial thing, like small like happiness. Um, I'm pretty sure about the planner I'm gonna get. And for anyone that's interested, so originally I think I was gonna go with like um, there's this this is the brand I used for my notebooks. This has nothing to do with open source. I just wanted to share this like tiny little like achievement of today. Like I use these kind of notebooks, um, and it's super pretty. So like I love their notebook designs, and like these are just like I just jot down like random like things um in these notebooks, and then just like work related things, and they're like so pretty. So then I was thinking about like getting one of their planners. Hold on. The whole like accidentally closing the chat tab has really messed with me. So give me another few seconds to get that. Uh, okay, so so then I was looking at this, and it's so pretty. And I really like the layout of them. So this is I really like this whole weekly planner, because one of the things I realized was that um, I used to have this like bad tendency to write too many to-dos. I would write like 10 to-dos for a day or something, and then I would beat myself up and like feel really bad that I didn't get through all of them, which is ridiculous because like I don't know, like 10 to-dos, like it's just like overly ambitious. So I really like the weekly format um you can where I can just write maybe like 3 or 4 per day, and then feel accomplished when I do them. And then I used to also have this habit of like I wouldn't allow myself to check something off for the day if I didn't complete it. But then sometimes it'd be like these like big coding things, like be like a whole feature I needed to do or something, and then I would just feel like dejected that I didn't finish the whole thing. So then I also changed like the way I think about it. Um, and now I let myself like use like a green highlighter if I even like started on it. Then I let myself kind of like cross it off with like a green highlighter. And that just means like I got to work on it. Uh, that's yeah. um, those are like kind of the two things that have really helped me with my productivity, or at least my like self-esteem that's like way too tied to my productivity. And making my and being like, oh hey, like you actually got a good amount done today. Quiet deviant, I'm Forrest says that's good, mental health matters, thank you so much. Yeah, it's like I've been thinking a lot about that in the last few years also, of like how much I sacrifice my mental health in terms of like this whole like I must always be productive, and I must always be like working hard, and yeah, and making things I feel like it's a very like a very, I don't know, I guess it's a pretty like I know it's like pretty typical in Asian American culture, I guess, of like you must just be always overachieving, and like what is mental health. But I think in the last few years, like there have been a lot more. I'm just really grateful that like there have been a lot more people that have been talking about it, and I've been thinking about it a lot too. But yeah, so this is one that I've been looking at, and then today, my friend, um, if you're into planners, um, she recommended this one. which apparently I really, first of all, like I really like just kind of like how cute um this launches. So apparently they're launching September 1st. Um but then like for the whole of August they had like a whole like a whole like promotional schedule. Which is like super cute. Anyways, I also really like this one because so I've been considering this one, and they have like a few different types of planners, um, but I really like this whole like, um, yeah, this design, that's like day by day. It's called like Hobonichi Techo, and apparently every year she was telling me, my friend was telling me that every year when they like launch the sale, it's like a bloodbath in getting them. Because apparently a lot of the like there's like covers that come with these planners, and apparently they're like limited edition, so a little bit scared. But um, I was also looking at this one, and I was considering them just because then like here I can write my daily to dos, and like here I can like write kind of like my like if I have any meetings and things I need to get done that are time based. But I really like this whole like you can do whatever you want, and they call it like a life book instead of a planner. So then they have all these different examples of um, like just writing down what you did that day, or like ticket stubs if you went to see something, or like you just like paste in so yeah, so this is what it looks like, and they'll have like all of these different examples of how people use it, and so I just wanted to share this. I thought this was really cute, writing about days he spends with children. Just wanted to share this because I got really excited this morning. I was like, oh, I think I know the planner I'm gonna get for next year. Also because I feel like in my 20s I had pretty good memory, and I was able to like keep all these things in my head, down to like sometimes I used to be able to keep like a whole code base in my head, like in terms of like the architecture of a code base and like all the things I needed to do. And now I'm like wondering, maybe I just like maybe I only have a certain amount of like memory that's like allocated and like for my entire life. And then I'm just like, maybe I just like used too much of that in my 20s, because now I just hit 30 and I'm like, I can't remember anything anymore. Like these days I can't remember like simple words. So I'm like getting really paranoid about like memory loss. Anyways, so now I'm just very excited about this planner and being able to like just jot down things that happened that day, or like just like not just the work I need to do, but like just like life things, and be able to like look back and then remember. That was a very long rant about the fact that I'm just really excited that I found these planners. Anyways, um, Michael says, speaking of mental health, I like the habit of making an intention in the morning of how I wish to show up during the day rather than what I'm going to do. Ooh, I really like that, of how I wish to show up during the day. I've certainly got into, I've been really, I don't, I'm not able to do it every single day, but like I really like the days when I can start with like a coffee or a tea, and then like write down things in my planner. I haven't been able to do that in a while, but yeah, I really like when I can start the day that way. So I really like this, like how I wish to show up during the day. That's really nice. Carrots and Pizza says, I also notice I have too many to-dos per day, so I reduced it to one per day, and it feels so much better. Yeah, I agree. So um, I think that's actually also gotten me thinking a lot about like productivity and capitalism. um, and like where do all of these like self-imposed like have to be productive thing come from, and has a lot to do with, yeah, like I think there's like terms that are like um yeah yeah it's the whole like work hard, play hard, all of that sort of mentality, and I really bought into it. I think in my, especially in college, I think, and now I'm trying to be better at just being like, I still am really bad at this. I still tie too much of my self-worth to my productivity, but I'm trying to be um better about being like, It's okay if I don't get through everything. It's okay if I need to take a break. It's okay if some days like it's great if some days like I'm productive the whole day. So if some days like if all I want to do is like nothing, that's okay too. And I'm trying to get better at that. Um, and Quiet Deviant says, if I write an aesthetic to-do list, I feel better working on the things on it. Like I look more forward to doing things and my brain feels that life is manageable. Ooh. So I haven't been able to get into the whole like beautiful like bullet journal or anything. Because I feel like I think there's a part of me that doesn't like fully understand. I'm like that's so much work that you put into making something look really beautiful. But maybe that's it. Like maybe it's just like when it's so good to look at, you want to do it. I guess maybe it's a fine balance between like making it really aesthetic and beautiful, versus like spending too much on time on it. I don't know. That part I still haven't quite figured out. Anyways, okay, so today I think we're almost done with this. So we on Wednesday we merged in Ian's database setup. Let me make this bigger so it's easier for you to read. So we merged in the database setup, and then was it DT that suggested labeling this as contributing? And then we said there was both localization and the data part. And then today we're gonna finish writing the data part. And then I just realized like it would have been really nice if we were like, together we like publish and make this like public together, and that would be like a really nice like oh sort of moment. But I already made it public, so we don't get the we don't get to have that moment, but that's okay. So let us so the first thing I wanted to do is I actually wanted to bring the contributing part. I wanted to bring the contributing part up, so that's the first thing someone sees when they come into the project. And so there is 3 files for each country. Need the following information, and then I think what I wanted to do is yes, Mr. Kefti says, what was that notebook planner? And it was Hobonichi. Yes, Hobonichi Techo. 2021. So it's like Techo means hand notebook. 2021. I wonder what Hobonichi. I wonder what the Hobo part of Hobonichi is. Hobonichi Techo. Wonder what this hobo means. Michael says, haha, we missed our communal moment. Wait, I don't know what you mean. Oh yes, you're right. This is what I mean about my memory. I like don't even remember what I said like 2 minutes ago. But yeah, we missed our communal like celebration moment. Maybe like how about we make it private right now and then we like turn it back to public. Okay, so we need the following for each country. We need the following information: age breakdown by zip code, number of hospital beds. So actually, let me say, and then let me say the age breakdown I want to say is in 20 age breakdown by with where do I want to put this information? So the age breakdown must be so actually maybe I'll do it this way. So I'm going to try to figure out the best way to communicate the information that we need and the reason behind it. Let's see. So the first thing that we need is the age breakdown. And for that one, it is in the format. Okay, so this one is just the columns are how should I format this? So is a zip code. Should I format it like this? Zip total 0, 20, 40, 60, 80. And then where zip code. Gilliam asks, do you usually separate with a comma in CSVs? Yes. So these are all comma separated. So columns, and then where each breakdown by zip code, and then how do I want to say it? So the population by age, let's call it this, population by age, and per zip code. So Xtalk programmer says I prefer tab. Files with commas need to be converted. Yeah, I don't actually know. I don't have a strong opinion between CSV and TSV. It's just that most of the examples I see are CSV, so I just kind of default to it. It is a little bit annoying when, for example, if we have like a description column or something, and then in that description we use commas or something, and then so you have to treat that differently. Other than that, Helium says, yeah, I've been burned with how we write numbers in French. Our decimal separator is a comma, so yes. So there's that too. Listener says, oh, I feel like I want to convert to TSV now. And Xtalk programmer says, I import files with 2.5 million records. The fact that CSVs use commas extends the import by 4 to 8 hours. Oh my gosh. Those are good points. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm gonna keep that in mind too. Okay, so population by age per zip code. So file includes age, population, includes total population, as well as, let's see, total population as well as per, as well as for every, as well as age breakdown grouped for every 20 years. And every 20 years. And then please reason for 20-year buckets is for the model that we the simulation is reason for 20-year buckets is because the simulation is based on age-based parameters. Based on age-based parameters. And then, so then this one, so actually number of hospital beds. And then what I'm going to do is say, actually, I think I'm going to do it this way. Okay, so actually, I think I'm going to have a section. So each of the files, actually, I'm going to dedicate a section to it. Population by age per zip code. And this file is used to use for Helium says tabs are nice when most numbers are about the same length. Makes the file almost readable at a glance, but it breaks fast too. Yeah, and tablet can be configurable even, Vishnu says. Vishnu says CSV versus CSV sounds like that. Betaman versus VHS. Helium says we do love our drama. Next up, what's your favorite regex separator? We're not going to go into that. This file is used for okay, hold on. So columns, let's copy this over. And file includes total population as well as age breakdown as population per age group for every 20 years. This file allows us to use enables the model, which is which determines infection, susceptibility, and rate of determines a rate of infection and hospitalization based on age. And then we'll do this. Rate of infection and hospitalization based on age. Okay, and then let's do the one about number of hospital beds by zip code. And so for that one, for this file, we so this one I think we said by zip code or county. We allow okay, let's see. We can take in, for this file, we can take in the number of hospital beds by zip code or by county. And whichever is more easily available for your country. Whichever is more easily available for your country. So this one is, and then I think I was gonna add in examples. I'll do that later. I'll do that right now, apparently. So, let's see. Is easier to obtain for your country. Is easier to obtain for your country. And so for by zip code, let's see, we're gonna have I think columns by zip code. I think what I want is, actually, let me also take a look at the one by county. So this one is, so by county, this feels very hacky how we did this. So this one has county, beds, and population. So what that means is some ID for county, number of hospital beds in county, and number and population number for that county. And then for zip code, I think what we want is zip and actually, so this one, this is interesting because I think originally the data set we found actually had each row was a hospital. So it's actually, I feel like this name is also misleading, but oh well. So actually each of these are hospitals. So it's not even that it's by zip code. It's actually by hospital. This is misleading. Number of beds. Okay, so right now the code only supports number of beds by hospital or county. And so what a misleading file name. Number of beds per hospital. It's per. that one is, I think, name. I think I have city. I have city, and then zip and beds. So that would be name for hospital, city the hospital is located in, zip code, number of beds. So XTalk programmer asks, who are currently delivering data to this project? Health and research institutions, governments, ministries. Do you expect individuals to deliver data? Currently, so for this project, we initially I went and got the data. So the data set itself, so the project is, so the project itself is supposed to be a simulation, so it's not supposed to have any COVID-19 specific data sets. Instead, it's using like static data that is, so the number of hospital beds is like just the total number, actually, total number of beds in hospital, total number of hospitals in county. So yeah, so this, we were very intentional with this project in that we didn't want to use any of the COVID-19 data because we knew that the numbers were moving too fast. We wouldn't be able to we weren't confident that we could say that we could be accurate in how we use the data. And so for the pandemic related numbers, we actually came up with the numbers ourselves. And so these are the numbers that Stephen came up with. And he came up with these numbers and then he kind of reverse engineered it to have a similar R naught as what was the R naught that was being reported back in, I think, March and April. And so that's why we're very, very careful about saying that it's not supposed to be modeled after COVID-19. It's just a simplified model, and it's supposed to just model the spread of a virus. And so the data sets that we actually need for this is kind of the part that makes the hyperlocal part possible, and that is given a zip code, we have the population numbers, the infected cases is broken up by age group, and that actually, because each of them have different susceptibility rates, infection rates, etc., drives the number of cases here and the number of hospital beds that are taken up. So that's the data that we do need. And so as of right now, the team that helped us with the data in France was just a team of individuals that was really excited about contributing data to this project. And I've also had a few others say that they wanted to try and get data for their country. So that's why I'm trying to make it, I'm trying to write kind of this like readme about like what data we need and why we need that data. So yeah, actually, having said that, I feel like there's something that I can make better which determines rate of infection and hospitalization. Yes. So Gilliam says it's very ambitious to build an I-18N app with several countries, zip codes, and stuff. So, yeah. So Xtalk Programmer says I understand it a bit better now. So Gilliam, I'm not quite sure if the localization, yeah, so we do have a kind of internalization, like a file for translations. There was a little bit of things that we needed to figure out when we were getting the French data in, which was like something like for the French data, they don't have I think specific like city names that could be associated with the zip codes, etc. So that was an interesting challenge. Wasn't really challenges, yeah, and then they didn't have like hospital names or anything. But other than that, I think it was pretty okay. Yeah, it wasn't, I don't think it was like an overly complicated process. I guess it was ambitious. But it was a really great learning experience. DT says, I looked into the data sets out there for Germany and also only found beds per county and number of hospitals. Yeah, so that seems to be the common case. I think we might have just really lucked out with the data set we had. Like, I think somewhere in here we have the hospital data. Where is, yeah, we like super lucked out with finding that data set. Yeah, this one. We were able to get, this is I think from like 2017 or so, I think. Yeah, so 2017, but actually updated in 2020, May 2020. So we felt pretty good about it. But yeah, it was a really, yeah, so it had data for 7,500 hospitals, and for a lot of them, it also had number of beds. Sometimes it wouldn't, and it would say like negative 999. But for a lot of them, it had that information, which was really, really cool. I can imagine that that might not be the case for a lot of that. Yeah, that might not be the case for a lot of countries. I don't even know how. I was just like Googling like number of hospital beds per zip code or something like that. And then they came up. Okay, so here what we're trying to do is name for hospital city. Okay, and then this one, I'll say hospitals by zip code. DT, if you were able to do the data for Germany, that'd be so awesome. Okay, so example, but I think the other thing that I've kind of struggled with this is like trying to figure out how to get it more out there. But I think it went quite far in the first, I think, week that it was published. But I think like a lot of, I mean, like most internet projects, I guess, you know, it dwindled, like the number of visitors dwindled pretty quickly. I think by like maybe after the first 3 weeks or so, I think it was like not that many people visiting per day. Yeah, so I don't quite know how to make, yeah, I don't know how to make this more of like a sustained, like for people to like come back to it. But I guess it is also one of those like one-off things that like people might see it once and then they won't come back to it. But yeah, I was hoping for it to be, I was hoping for it to go further, but at the same time, I think I'm just really happy about the number of people that saw it and said that it was helpful and said that it really kind of helped them understand the numbers and how it might be able to to like understand how it might spread. I mean, not that like this is exact. Yeah. Anyways, so Gilliam says perhaps tie it into news sources. Do you mean like have like news sources cover them, or let's see. Okay, so for France, this is hospitals by zip code. So this is. Oh, I guess there's also things that I'm wondering about, like whether there are things that we should be doing to update it for the situation now, or if we should just keep it as is from back when we first published it in May. I see. Gilliam says, I'm going to try and display news in relation to the area that's displayed or something. So the reason why we wanted to have this be, so we really didn't want to mention like anything about COVID-19 in the project, because it runs this really, it seemed like this is modeling COVID-19, which, you know, is not its intention. It was supposed to just show how like how an infectious disease might spread. So yeah, I'm not sure what keeps people engaged either. And I'm not actually sure if it helped in the original goal, which is the original goal was that we wanted to create something. I really wanted to make something that would try and help convince the people that weren't convinced, because we were making this back in March, so there were still a lot of people that weren't convinced about the seriousness of COVID-19. And I think the reception of the project was overall really positive, but I think a lot of the reception was, at least from the feedback, and I mean, obviously there's going to be a lot, like there's going to be like tens of thousands of people that like saw it and obviously wouldn't have given me the feedback, but from the feedback that I was seeing, it was mostly people that already believed that it was a serious deal, and was kind of like you know, this kind of supports like what I think. So I guess that's the thing about putting projects out there into the internet, is like you never really know. You can't ever really fully measure the impact that it has or has not had. So, and Gilliam says gamifying this project could be a detriment to the goal. Yeah, so we were also very careful about gamifying it. We like didn't want to make it seem like we were yeah, we didn't want to make it seem like we were trying to like make the issue like lighter, or yeah, so I think it was a very interesting fine balance from a story perspective of we were trying to make something like engaging, and so there are game elements, but then trying really careful to in the language to not make light or trivialize the situation. So I actually sometime want to do like a Q&A sort of thing on this project, because it was very, very interesting, like a lot of really good challenges and learnings from doing the project. So let me know if you're like interested in sort of one of these streams where we just do like a Q&A style about like any of the projects that I've done in the past, and like how it was implemented, or yeah. So anyways, name for a hospital. So actually maybe I should do it this way. Required columns is, I think, zip code, total number of beds in the hospital. I think that's all that's required. Optional columns is the name for hospital and the city that it is located in. And then this is, I think this is all required. And then this is also all required, yes, okay. And then finally there is the map zip code to county. So this one, what did I use this for? Zip to city, county. Okay, so I use this one to say, okay, so columns is zip, city, state, county. Is that the same for both of them? Leon says, as a setup nerd, I'm just wondering what mouse and keyboard you are using. Oh, I don't think I use anything that special or anything. I just have a like regular Apple mouse, and I have a mechanical keyboard from Das Keyboard, and that's pretty much it. I've been Wednesday we were talking about going down the mechanical keyboard rabbit hole, or like customizing keyboards. So one of these days I need to kind of like set aside time and research into that, because I do want to have a more compact keyboard to build out. So okay, so yes, it seems like for both of these it was zip, city, state, county. So that sounds good. Leon says I just started falling down that hole too. Trying not to fall too hard. I'm trying to not. I'm trying to just peek into the hole. I'm trying not to fall down it. And so Gilliam says maybe projections to the future, in the sense that, say I act this way and I convince X people per week, what's it like in 1 month? What an interesting idea. That's such an interesting idea. I act this way and I convince X people per week, what's it like in 1 month? Yeah. Huh. This file takes in. This file can take in a number. Okay, so this file is used for where do I use this file? Let's see. This is my store.js. And then in my store.js, I must have zip to city. Okay, so I load this and then I do cities by zip. Where do I use cities by zip, and how do I use it? So I find, given a zip code, I find the city and county, and then the city and county I use it in, so I use it in right here for display purposes. Use it there. Where else do I use it? So I use it to display here. And then, let me see. So city, county is also used in zips in county. What? What? What does that mean? Oh, okay. So basically, I'm saying, given the zip code, which county is it in? And then go and get all of the other zip codes in the county. Okay, got it. Do I only really use it for hospitals and total number of beds? Is that what the only place I use it for? Okay, so it seems like this file is used for, oh, actually, so this file is used for calculating the number of beds in a zip code, the number of beds that might be available to the people living in a zip code. Which is an equation of number of total beds. Lols. Can I do that? Nope. Ooh. Markdown shouldn't support LaTeX, right? Oh, so DT asks, what's the population for in hospitals by zip code? So actually, oops. So that one is used for calculating. So basically, the hospital beds calculation is it's used for this number, this population in county. So that's what that's for, and I don't actually know why I don't use. Yes. So yeah. So that's what that one is for. It's for being able to get this number to calculate the number of hospitals. Number of beds that might be available to the people living in a zip code, which is an equation of beds in the county multiplied by ratio of population in zip code to in county. Number of beds. Let me get that. Okay, so I think, oh, and then I just need to finish this one. This file is used for, see, zip code to county. This file is used for supporting the hospital beds calculation, as well as displaying the city and state names. In the game. Okay, I think that's most of it. decent enough. Finish data contribution section. Commit changes. And thank you so much, Gillian, for answering Hilario's question. Yeah, this particular stream probably isn't as useful, and I don't think for all of my streams, I don't think I'm trying to. It's not as much a teaching D3 like a workshop sort of thing, but more of a I'm going to work on these projects, and maybe you'll be able to pick up some like tricks along the way kind of thing, or like maybe you'll be able to learn something just from the projects. But certainly this particular one is like Gilliam said, it's a complete project that I'm just trying to open source, and so I was trying to write some documentation about what we would need for so for what we would need for each of the data and localization, what sort of help we might need. I think that is it. And let me put in a little bit of a so people a hyper local cooperative simulation game. People of the pandemic. So, of the pandemic. Yeah, let me write a little bit about like the project itself, I guess. Was a game developed in March to May 2020 by Shirley, Stephen Osserman, and with production support from Egghead. Its aim is to show how an infectious disease might spread through a particular community and thus uses local, show how an infectious disease might spread through a particular community, and thus uses data from population and hospital data based on zip codes. It does not use any COVID-19 data. It is meant to how an infectious disease might spread through a particular community and thus uses population and hospital data based on zip codes, because of the rapidly changing numbers of the COVID-19 virus, this game was meant to be a simplified model rapidly changing nature of because of the rapidly changing numbers of the COVID-19 virus, it does not rely on COVID-19 data itself. However, because of rapidly changing numbers data, IRL data perhaps, IRL data, in real life data, where do you mean, Gilliam? Thus uses population and hospital data based on IRL zip codes. Maybe that's what you mean. Because of the rapidly changing currently the game only supports US and French. The game is only localized for the US and France. It is meant to represent real places, but only approximate population with support from open source data. Ah, I see. It uses. Okay, hold on. This uses population. Wait, hold on. Meant to represent real places, but only approximate population with support from open source data. This uses population data based on real life from how an infectious disease might spread through a particular community, and thus uses data from real zip codes with support from open source data. Okay. Supported by. So only localized for the US and France. If you are please read the contributing section if you are able to supply data for your country. Alright. Should be an okay first pass. We would greatly appreciate it. Add an intro. I think that's good, right? I feel like that's Gilliam says, aka this is not a made-up world for a made-up pandemic. Good point. I feel like this is region of, let's see, file is used for calculating the number of... Ooh, I have gone severely over today. I feel like I've been going over a lot recently. File is used for calculating number of beds. Okay, so let's see. I think that's it. I think we've finished. I think that should be all of the information. Yeah. So we've finished. There we go. Okay, so I guess now we'll just tweet about it. I guess. I don't know. I think that's really the only thing we really need to do, because now it's public. I guess that is it for today. I think I'm gonna have one last look at this file later, and then I will, I guess, tweet about it. Oh, interesting. Titi says, do the zip codes need to be unique? I just learned they are not in Germany. Yes, so what an interesting wow. I think actually France also has something similar where their postal codes were shared. So yes, the zip codes. I was assuming that the zip codes would be unique, like the unique identifier, because I think in the US, zip codes are unique. Gilliam says, no, we are better in regards to France. We only have numbered codes except for one county. There was an interesting thing where for France, no, we there was something like there was different cities or areas that shared the same postal code or something like that. But I guess it depends on what you mean by the zip. That zip codes are not unique. So then, like, is it multiple areas are sharing the zip code? If it is, maybe there's something we can talk through about, like, merging those areas, or unless that feels really wrong to you. But yeah, the zip code I was relying on as the unique identifier. Xtalk programmer says 2 hospitals can have the same zip code in Germany. Isn't that, or doesn't that mean that the 2 hospitals are just in the same area? Gilliam says, oh yeah, and they changed over the years. Mine used to be DT says, so there are 2 places, cities with the same zip code. So they are not neighbors. So Xtalk programmer says they need to be neighbors though. Yep, and they are not neighbors. Oh. So they are 2 places that are far apart from each other. I'll DM you. But what an interesting, yeah. So this is another one of those, like, yeah, like data is so messy. And oh, let's look up this. So, oh, wow. So this one has, so in the US, there is a little bit of trickery with zip codes, which I learned. I'm not good at geo, so I um like geo data. So what I learned this time around was that zip codes sometimes share, or like some zip codes will I think encompass like multiple cities, or like maybe two cities, or like it will actually like go across county lines. So that did happen, and I think Stephen had a disclaimer for that somewhere. So maybe that could be, let's see. Zip code selection for is okay. Aren't used to zip codes generally are hard geographical units to work with given wide margins of error and geographic irregularities like cross county and state boundaries. So yeah, we use them due to the familiarity of them for potential players of the game. So it's that the zip codes themselves are unique, but then they might belong to several counties, and I don't know if that's what's happening here also, that they like belong to several different cities or counties, but like as long as they're neighbors and like they're like as long as it's like one area, then that's fine. Stock programs, no, I disagree. Now I don't think two villages have the same zip code, but two buildings can have the same zip code. Gilliam says, yeah, in France too, several cities can share one zip code, and one city can have several zip codes as well. Yes, I think that's all true. So, but as long as it's like one continuous area, like as long as it's like one, like, I guess area, and it's not like this zip code, like this is one zip code here, like zip code A is over here, but then also there's the same zip code A, like over here, like halfway across the country or something. As long as it's not like that, I think it should be fine. And next talk programmer says, DT, those duplicate zip codes are all in the same craze. And DT says, yeah, I think that is the case here, looking at the long lot of these. Yeah, I think so. They do look all very close to each other. So I agree. I think that's what's happening. It's just that they spread across multiple towns or multiple, yeah. Let's see. Talk programmer says, no, they are the same county. Somebody just needs to find their zip code. It is one continuous area. Yes, yes. Awesome. As long as it's one continuous area, that's what matters. And yeah, okay. So, this is the first time I've written such a detailed documentation. Okay, we are done with this. I will, I guess, tweet about it probably today or Monday, and then hopefully there will be people that help contribute data for their own countries. Even if not, at least now we have this, which I'm really happy about. And I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for sticking around until the very end. We've wrapped up the open source one. So I think on next week, we can go back to what we were working on before, which was with the Crazy Rich Asians data set. And I was also thinking about going back and looking some more at the USPS and post office data. So those are the two things that I want to do next week. And William says, thanks for sharing the process. Thank you so much. Remy Kaizen says, nice meeting you. Nice to meet you too. Thank you for joining the chat. And I will see you next Wednesday. I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.